be a solicitor. I didn't know what, it sounded so boring.
So you like to perform maybe a solicitor, not be a performer?
Yeah, you like something else? Why don't you do this? Basically, everything is be a solicitor.
Yeah.
With Tom,
We're gonna do
always
Christmas.
dressed like a solicitor. That is true. That Mohican wig really, yeah, probably, yeah.
Joanna, what did you, when you were a kid, when you were first studying your career, what did your parents want you to be?
I don't know, we were rather clueless about it. I don't remember them even asking what exams I got. I mean, it's quite vague, you know, it's quite vague. I said, I want to be an actress, and I went down to the school advisory thing down in Hastings in Warrior Square, and they said, now, what subjects? And I said, I do French and Latin and German and Italian. They said, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be an actress. And they said, well, you can't be an actress. There are no jobs for actresses, really. I think you can be a continuity girl, maybe. That's all. You couldn't be a director, you couldn't be anything. And I thought, well, I'd be an actress. But I didn't know how to be it. So first of all, I was a shop girl, then I was a model. And then I scrabbled through the back window.
My mum still, to this day, thinks that the career I've chosen is an unreliable one. So she constantly wants me to do a PGCE and be a teacher. Especially as a mum, because she thinks that it's good because I'll be able to have school holidays at the same time as my children. But I'm a bit like, I feel like I might have gone past the stage where it might not be weird for some of the parents if I was their teacher.
Yeah.
So now she wants me to be a landlady, but she wants them to live in my house. So she wants me to have a lodger. So, because like any spare room, she's like, great. She'll always be safe financially.
I mean, that's lovely. And she's got a point, of course.
Yes, yeah.
We're going to take a break. Don't go away, because when we come back, we'll have loads more. See you after the break.
I didn't know he's going out of her. I know, she's so pretty.
Okay, commercial break. Let's get a refill on the milkshake, please. Thank you. Sauce on the face. Okay, let's get makeup in, please, if you can.
This Black Friday, Virgin Media is dropping prices to an all-time low. How low? That's right, grab our lowest ever prices for lightning-fast broadband and amazing TV. Now that's something you can really get down with. Search Virgin Media Black Friday.
This year, we've all learned to adapt. Me, you, everyone.
Local businesses too.
Now, I like my cup of tea to go. Local businesses have been there for us. It's time we return the favour. It's proper easy. Just go online and leave a Google review. So share some love for local treasures, local favourites and local pride. Because Google reviews help local businesses stay strong. Support local businesses you love with a little help from Google.
At Morrison's this Christmas, the best deep-filled mince pies are half price. Only £1 for 6. Morrison's, making Christmas special.
Download the Tombola Arcade app from the Play Store and enjoy unique games like Spin and Go. Download the Tombola Arcade app today.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, here we go.
Push.
Don't worry, with lots of lights, with a choice of ways to pay.
Had to have 4 reindeer. I'll get the torch.
Christmas is this very moment.
Occasional breakouts, dull skin? Wash away the unkind with simple facial wash with vitamin E and gentle cleansers that effectively help to wash away bacteria, leaving your skin feeling clean, fresh and smooth. Simple, the UK's #1 facial wash. Simple, choose kindness.
When you've got a cold or flu, it's easy to spread these germs around the home. But it's also easy to help protect your family by simply cleaning your home with Dettol. Help stop the spread. Kills 99.9% of bacteria and cold and flu viruses.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Oh, milk!
That's not...
It's freezing.
Hi, Brewska.
Hold on.
That's mine.
What are you doing?
Film, 4 words.
What are you doing?
You're rubbish at this.
Mandy needs to get her own motor. This is her fella. Bodywork's amazing, but not a lot going on under the bonnet. So we ain't going to be much help getting her first car.
She needs Cinch.
Cinch.
Cinch lets you buy a quality check used car online. No haggling, free home delivery, and a 14-day money-back guarantee to make sure you've made the right choice. Because sometimes we don't, do we? Nice one, Mandy. You're in the driving seat now, Britain.
Okay, so, comedy.
No.
Action comedy.
No way.
Animated action comedy. Critically acclaimed dramas about dogs, sequels of remakes, remakes of prequels, reality shows about geese.
Shall we just have a Gordon's and tonic?
Absolutely, let's do that instead.
Gordon's. Shall we?
Get ready because the wait is almost over.
I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here is back with a series like never before.
Our celebs don't know what's coming. You don't know what's coming. Do we know what's coming?
We haven't got a clue.
Can't wait.
I'm a Celebrity. Get Me Out of Here returns tomorrow at 9 on ITV and ITV Hub.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, Nick. Please, welcome to the living room. Dad!
Welcome back to the show. Thanks for staying with us. Tom, I have to say, I'm afraid Tom Allen is one of those annoying people who wrote a book during lockdown. I know.
that
There's
old
the other
thing.
people I know. But having said that, it's a delight. It's funny and it's sweet and it's charming and it's very revealing as well, I think. But it's called No Shame, ladies and gentlemen. It's out now. How did you find the writing process? It must be very different writing now it's being read rather than writing stand-up, for
Well,
example.
it was a lovely thing to do during the lockdown, and they were stories that I'd had in my mind for a long time. I've always kept a diary, so it was a lot of time just taking those stories, putting them on the page. And it felt very cathartic to spend time on my own telling these stories. Then, of course, you send it off into the world, and then they print it, and they send it to places, and people read it, which I had no idea about when I was writing it. I just thought, oh, it was just for me. And I had a really wonderful editor who could be quite strict as well. So I'd write something quite vulnerable, quite personal in it, and then she'd come back with notes going, could cut, no, cut that, I don't understand what you mean here, what's this? It's my grandmother. No, I'm not going to got it. So that was an interesting experience.
And the book's out. Are you doing an audiobook version of this?
Well, I'm doing an audiobook, yes, and I put on social media. I do like social media, right? But sometimes, I mean, I've said it before, but sometimes I do think the people who comment on social media are the same people who, in the old days, would have turned up at a public hanging. And, you know, lovely people interact on social media. I love it. But I put up the other day, like, oh, I'm doing the audiobook of my book. And people underneath were like, oh, that's great. Have you thought about doing an audiobook? And I literally just said, I'm doing an audiobook of it. They'd say things like, did you read it? And I was like, yes, of course, I read. Like, who do they think was going to read it? Like Elton John?
I'd quite like to hear someone else doing your book because it's so you and your voice is so uniquely yours and your style of speaking and the tempo you speak in is uniquely yours. But it would be interesting to hear someone else do it.
Who would you imagine?
I would quite like to hear Joanna Lumley doing your book.
Yeah.
I mean, have you done an audio book, Johnny?
I have, yes, I have. I love to do them, actually. I think they're great. I love reading them and I love listening to them, too.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so we put a little card there for Joanna. This has an extract from the book in it.
This is a huge honour for me, I have to say. If my 15-year-old closeted self could see me now.
A girl in my form group, Tiffany, wore her bag on both shoulders, which led to her being labelled Tizzy Two Straps forevermore. Poor Tizzy. In fact, I think I came up with that to deflect from my love of musicals. What a sad case poor Tizzy was. Though now she's probably not sad at all, because, unlike her peer group, she doesn't have to deal with sciatica.
I mean, that's a good moment, isn't it? That's our Christmas gift to you. It's not rude of me to say that you are an unusual child, is it?
Well, I guess I was a bit eccentric. And, I mean, for example, like, as a child walking around Waitrose with my parents, and I deliberately get lost so that I would have to go over to the information desk and then they'd read my name out over the tannoy, just to draw attention to myself. And in a way, I've been lost in Waitrose ever since. And I remember as well, very clearly being in the sort of 80s, 90s, when it was fine to take your child into the pub. And my dad would just take me to the Anglesey Arms in Bromley and sit me at the end of the pub, sat there, like in my tracksuit at the age of about 5, and I didn't know what to do. I was just given a packet of crisps and a bottle of Coca-Cola to sip on, and I was so bored. But I did watch a lot of soap operas, and when my dad came to tell me, like, come on, we're going to leave now, I turned round and out of nowhere just slapped him across the face. Because I thought I was Angie in EastEnders or something. Everybody in the pub stopped still. I assume because they'd never seen such an incredible performance in their whole lives. And I thought I'm bound to win a TV Quick Award at least. But no, instead, they all said, "You're barred, get out of there, you'll never come back here again, you're barred." Like, who bars a 5-year-old from a child I shouldn't have been in the first place?
Well, you were quite an aggressive and abusive 5-year-old, it has to be said.
Yeah, but very dramatic, but always entertaining.
So school, I was being kind of, not odd is the wrong word, but different. That must have been quite tough for you, wasn't it?
I was an unusual teenager, certainly, and a lot of the time I would dress up in Victorian clothing in a bid to distract people from the fact that I was gay. Which was a flawed plan.
Did that work?
It was a flawed plan.
Okay.
And I was so closeted, and I was so convinced I couldn't tell anybody about being gay. But then I'd have these crushes. So once I tried to tell this guy that I loved him, but I didn't know how to do it. You couldn't tell somebody face to face because it was the 90s and it was all like Britpop and like music was like people wearing tracksuits, and all boys did was read magazines about boobs and how to wear a tracksuit. So I didn't know what to do. So I decided to go the other way. And I thought, well, it was my way of rebelling. So I threw a luncheon party to try and impress him and invited 2 of my teachers. And so we sat there, and I'd cooked like a beurre blanc. And I folded napkins, and I'd even bought fish knives, laid the table incredibly, to tell this guy, Michael, that I loved him. Of course I didn't. Of course I couldn't, because it turned out he was going out with my friend. And then our Yorkshire Terriers tried to shag each other. It was the worst. It was the worst lunch party I've ever been to.
I love the stories in the book about the job when you were, was it the bowling, where was it you had the job when you were a waiter? Not on the gay cruise, in the golf club.
Oh, I pushed a dessert trolley around a golf club.
So what age were you?
The course, so around the dining room.
What age were you when you were working at the golf club?
Oh, like 16 is my first job. And I'd string out at these people and be like, Rambaba, lemon bavois, citron. And these largely elderly people, I think a lot of them needed a defibrillator after I was finished. And I'd take forever going round. And then the staff, they'd be like, "You gotta hurry the fuck up, these people, they won't feed it. They won't wait for you. Stop making them stop and dance about all your lemon bavois and all that. Oh, they've got to serve them a bit of trifle and get out of there." And like, "Would you like maybe a fruit platter?" And once I was taking my time so much that I heard behind me this woman go, "You what?" And then this other woman go, What are you saying? What are you saying? Say it in my face then. Had a fight, an actual punchy, slappy face fight in the dining room of the golf club because I'd taken so long with the dessert trolley.
I bet you loved it.
I loved every minute. And I think it carried on into the car park I was still at.
Paloma, I know you've had a load of weird jobs, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been a ghost on a ghost train, magician's assistant, life drawing model, worked in cafes, worked in retail, worked at Agent Provocateur for 3 years. I used to have a column in the Daily Express when I was 14.
What was that?
It was called Teen View. And it was all about, it was like a TV critique. And there was like one article all about how much I love Des O'Connor.
Wow.
Obviously, I too am a homosexual man.
Tell me about the ghost. What did you have to do as a ghost?
A ghost, it was like a sort of arts council-y one. But they got in the carriage and then they'd go past and all these ghost doves would fly out of my chest and then they'd be flying around. It's an illusion called Pepper's Ghost, so it sort of makes them look like they're in the room, but they're not.
Yeah.
So I did that for a bit. So I did quite a lot of stuff.
What about when you were working with the magician? What did you have like a stage name?
Misdirection.
Wow. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, and I worked with doves, rabbits, and was levitated, sauna, all kinds of things.
I love that you've done all that and your mum still thinks you need something else to fall back on. Let's talk about awards a bit because you were nominated, Ben Masala, for 2 BAFTAs. Best Female Comedy Performance and Best Short Form Programme, I think.
Yeah.
And was this during lockdown when they were announced? Was it this year?
This was during lockdown, yeah, like full into it. So
you had to attend the ceremony without attending the ceremony.
It was BAFTA Zoom this year.
Yeah.
It was like a Zoom BAFTA, and part of the award ceremony was like pre-recorded. So like for the performance awards, so like Best Actor, Best Actress, that kind of thing, they were like live, so you film that a few hours before it went out.
And then for all the other categories, it was pre-recorded like a month before. So they're like, so guys, just you call a speech, and you know, if you win, then great, we'll show it. If you don't, we'll just destroy it, and no one will ever know that you ever did it. And I'm just like, God, like, at least normally you can sort of like prepare the speech and then let it die inside of you if you lose. But now with this one, you have to make the speech kind of going, oh, no one might see this and it might get destroyed. So we were like, we're just going to do a silly like sketch. So for Brain and Gear, it was like me just dressed as all the characters I play in the short, and because no one will ever see it. And so then when on the night when it sort of aired, and I was like Brain and Gear 1, I spent 5 seconds going, oh my God, I won! And then another 5 seconds going, oh crap, I did this crap, horrible sketch, I should have taken this more seriously. But it was great because there were a lot of creative, random speeches this year, which you never would have had if you know.
And when you win one next year, you'll have a chance to be there, because they'll be again, so we'll do it that way. But you've won, I think, 4 BAFTAs. You've been awarded 4 BAFTAs, haven't you, Dan?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. The first one, the idea of being voted for by your peers as an actress when I hadn't trained. So to get that, I can remember it was fantastic.
So what was the first one for?
Patsy.
Patsy. And the second one?
Patsy.
Tom, should I ask you about awards, or is it too early in your career?
Yes, it's a bit early in my career for that, although I did get a high commendation for my work in food technology in year 9.
In many ways.
Anyway, I treasure.
Is it Friends?
Yeah. I've been on a gay cruise though.
Yeah. I know, you didn't tell me the story yet. So I'm not asking about it.
Can we hear it?
It's not that
No,
good.
It is, it's a perfectly adequate
I'm
anecdote.
going to tell it now. It's kind of...
Do you want to, should we tell it after the break?
I wouldn't go to a break on it, John.
Don't go away after the break. The amazing adventures of this young man on his first gay cruise, ladies and gentlemen.
Stay tuned.
Big Mac, McNuggets, and fries.
AC/DC are back with their brand new album, Power Up, including the single Shot in the Dark. AC/DC Power Up, out now.
Start your day with Nescafe Original, a full bold flavour made with our signature roast of 100% pure coffee. A moment before the madness.
Do you mind? Still got half a cup.
I'm walking on sunshine.
Nescafe Original, perfectly roasted for your morning moment.
With Quaker Oats, the possibilities are endless. Add a splash of this, a sprinkle of that, and a good old dollop of wing in it. Go forage with Quaker.
If you want to wish Hannah a Merry Christmas, or if Michael's in need of some festive cheer, then why not send an extra special personalised greeting, along with their favourite chocolates, at officialmegastore.com. With Christmas just around the corner, we've got your wish list covered for the ho-ho-ho family and loved ones to enjoy. There's a favourite for everyone. Just add their name and we'll do the rest. Visit officialmegastore.com and treat the ones you love.
Christmas is on, and so are we. Get Pret's Christmas Sandwich, Burger King's Festive Barbecue King, and Pizza Hut's Christmas Pizza, delivered only by Deliveroo.
Listen up, UK. It's time to show local business some love. You can, everyone can. Just leave a Google review. Local is about the places that make your area what it is. The places that might have had it tough, but are coming back swinging. So give a shout out to local service, local resilience, and that local flavour, because Google reviews do wonders for places like this. Support local businesses you love with a little help from Google.
Tomorrow starts tonight. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Oh, throwback, back at the Dylans. Hold up, guys, I swear I've seen this one before. Anyway, oh look, it's Jasmine and Joe having a little chat on the sofa. Jasmine looking all impressed. What are they doing? They're looking at me? No? Hang on, no, she's joining Sky Bingo. Well, Jazzy can get 40 quid to spend on the bingo and up to 100 spins on Rainbow Riches when she spends her first tenner. Bingo! What a welcome! Join Sky Bingo and get £40 on bingo and up to 100 spins on Rainbow Riches when you spend a tenner. Exciting times.
He's accusing the Democrats of stealing it. That's an incredibly incendiary comment. It's a message to his most kind of ardent supporters not to accept the outcome.
And on what evidence?
On what evidence, indeed?
Nice one.
Welcome back to the show. Okay, so before the break, I was talking to Tom and we asked him about the gay cruise story that he didn't tell earlier on, and now it looks like we're going to have the chance to hear this. So,
Well, I feel like everybody's been waiting for the whole break.
we're on the edge of our seat.
Thanks for that. Anyway, I went on a gay cruise once. Did I mention?
No.
On a boat. It wasn't just around some woods. And
See, that's good enough.
that was that.
But we have more story to come.
And keep off the break for the rest of that story. No, don't dare clap in that patronizing way. Save it for the punchline, you'll love it. And then I got booked to a gig on this gay cruise, right? And it was such a fulfilling moment because when I went to school, nobody was gay. And people would do horrible teasing things, like if you were walking through the canteen, people would say things like, if you're gay, say what? And so you go, what? And they go, you're gay? Because it's like, if you're gay, say what? It's so childish. And so I went on this gay cruise and it was filled with gays. And mainly American gays who were very confident. They pop their collars, have incredible bodies, even though they're like 80 or 90 years old. Anyway, I didn't know anybody on this cruise. I walked into the formal dining room, which had these massive chandeliers. And any cruise ship, I mean, they have these chandeliers. It looks like you're walking between a drag queen's earrings. And we went into the dining room, and they said, I said, I'm on my own, can I have a table for one? And they said, no, you have to share if you're on your own. Just find anywhere. And so you had to wander around. And I was trying to find somewhere to sit, and then this American man got up, and Americans can be quite formal, and he stood up and he said to me, do you like vaginas? And I suddenly thought like it was being back at school, and he was saying like, if you're gay, say what? I thought it was a tease or something. And so I said, no, I don't, thank you. And then he looked very upset, because Americans are quite formal, and I said, sorry, did you just ask me, do you like vaginas? And he said, no, I just said, would you like to join us?
Yeah. Paloma, congratulations to you, not just for being fabulous, of course, but because you've got a new baby on the way, as you mentioned earlier on. How
Thank
lovely
you.
that is.
It's really hard to dress. Like, I've obviously gone over the top to compensate for my deep insecurity
Well, you look
about
amazing.
my body.
You always look amazing.
Thank you.
And how's your other, you've got a little girl, she's 4, is that right?
Yeah.
How's she dealing with the incoming new life?
Well, I tried to sort of make out that it was for her, so she's really happy. So I didn't, when I first told her, we were sitting in front of the telly, and she looked at my belly, and she was like, Mama, is that food or a baby? And I was like, it's a baby. She was like, what? I said, it's your baby. And she said, thank you, Mama. And then she kissed me and like kissed my belly, and she said, I've never had to sleep on my own again. She hates sleeping on her own. So yeah, it's actually quite cute because I recently sleep trained my 4-year-old for the 176th time, because she seems to always find a reason to get into our bed. And I did recently say to her, the reason why you have to stay in your own bed is because we love you so much, but sometimes Mummy and Daddy need to like have time with each other because we also love each other, and it doesn't mean we don't love you. And she was like, it's not fair, there's no love in my room.
Poor little thing. But amazing as well to have produced a new album during lockdown and to have, and this time you engineered and produced it yourself for the first time.
Yeah, so it started, the lockdown, I was a bit like, what do I do? Because I'm a workaholic, and also I sort of despise sitting alone with myself and my thoughts. And so I thought, how can I be productive? And I just decided to learn how to produce music. And I hired a microphone and stuck it in my basement. And I just got a rail of coats for the soundproofing. And it's all very like makeshift and a bit sort of back to basics, like my art school days kind of thing. And started to write songs and record them, calling up like friends and stuff and saying, you know, can you send me some music, and sort of writing over it. And that's how this album emerged. There's a couple of songs on there that were written pre-lockdown, but most of it was, well, only one of the songs was not recorded in my basement.